Colin Kaepernick, we all know he and Eric Reid, who was recently signed by the Carolina Panthers to a 3-year deal, had a lawsuit against the NFL for collusion.
Absolutely.
They said the owners had colluded, come together to agree not to sign Colin Kaepernick. And Eric Reid, to a lesser extent, because he was a free agent and was kept out of the league for a while, too.
Well, he was one of the guys kneeling.
Yeah,
right?
but he got re-signed. He got signed during last season. So turns out today, it shocks everybody, they had a settlement. And the terms are undisclosed and confidential, and to Rob's point, they may remain that way. Certainly on Kaepernick's side, you could forfeit the money if you talk about the terms or anything like that.
That's written into the language. It's a big deal not to disclose how much money the NFL gave up. So that's a part of it. And everybody knows if you broadcast it or put it out there and it comes from you, you could forfeit it.
And then on the NFL side, they probably don't want that amount of money out there
that they paid.
I am very curious. I hope it leaks. I hope nowadays
or just to get
leaks.
an idea.
Yeah,
of it.
but I don't want any side to get in trouble, if you will. But yeah, I'd like to know what it is. And so I'm gonna throw it out to you, Rob Park. I mean, what are your first thoughts on this situation?
I thought that the NFL really realized that they probably couldn't defend what they've done to Kaepernick, and they were afraid to let this thing go to court. And I don't know if it was a jury trial or a judge or what. If it's a jury trial, Chris, you don't know what the jury could award them as damages, and you know what I mean, long term. So it's pretty obvious, I think, that the owners colluded to keep. Especially
it's completely
right?
out. And we don't know all the details, all the things that came out of the interviews and the depositions.
And the cell phone records and emails and texts.
But just what we've seen, the number of quarterbacks that have gotten signed that can't hold a candle to Colin Kaepernick. It's obvious. Right. It's blatantly obvious. That he was not in the league for one reason and one reason only.
Because of his peaceful protest against police brutality.
Right.
And that's it. I mean, you could say whatever you want. Had nothing to do with the flag, had nothing to do with the military. That is exactly what he was kneeling for.
No question.
And at that time when he started it, Chris, I know things aren't where they were. But if you remember, it was in the news every other week, some unarmed black male was being shot or harassed or beat up or whatever, and it had gotten out of hand. It really had.
Well, my take on that, now this is not our discussion, I actually think that what we were seeing probably was not as bad as it was I'm not even talking about the distant past. I think it was probably happening more often 5-10 years ago. But now with technology, everybody's a reporter. And everybody had camera phones, and so you got to see it.
No
but it's
doubt.
Probably a lot less than it has been throughout American history.
I don't disagree. And Chris, this is the problem, and this is why the video makes such a big difference. When there's an altercation, and the police officer gives you one report, and the other guy gives you the other one, 99% of the time, they're going to believe the officer.
Oh, yeah.
And you can say whatever you want. I told you know this. My brother's an FBI agent. I have cousins and all that, all New York City police officers and detectives. So my family's in law enforcement. But I'm going to tell you, I've been harassed and all kinds of stuff stopped and treated
for no reason.
For no reason. I have.
What was your worst experience in harassment?
I was stopped, I don't know, I say 8 times in a matter of 2 months. I was doing a late night radio show in Detroit, and we lived in one of the nicest areas in the suburbs. And the drive home every night, I went down the main road, Woodward Avenue in Detroit, and I would just get pulled over. Never got a ticket, Chris. Right. They were just messing with me every night for no reason. And the reason to
the point where it was sometimes the same officers?
No.
Okay.
It was always
they just saw you
coming home at 1 o'clock in the morning. And that would be the question. Where are you coming from?
Right.
What are you doing around here? And I would be like, what? I'd be like,
am I speeding?
right. I said,
What's
why are you
going on?
stopping me? That's exactly what I asked. And then I remember the very last time. Here I go. I'm pulling on the main road. Cops pull up. They start pulling up behind me. I'm in the middle lane. I move over to the right lane because I don't want a ticket. I'm going to go slower. I just move over. They move over behind me. So I'm like, and then they put the lights on, and I'm like, what's the problem? Well, you're driving too slow, suspiciously. I said, you're following me for 2 miles. What are you following me for? And of course, there was no ticket.
Right.
But that's what they stopped me for. I was driving too slow. That's what they told me. At 1:30 in the morning.
I've been stopped 3 times in my life for no reason. Each time I had African-American men in the car with me who were darker skinned.
Right.
Like me, I've never just been stopped by myself. Because when I drive through, they might think I'm white.
Right.
Because I'm very light skinned.
Right.
But I've had, 3, 4 guys.
And when they stopped you, what'd they say?
One time it was with an NBA player. And they stopped us, and they said something about lights on the bottom of the car. I mean, we didn't get a ticket. Neither time.
That's what I'm saying.
None of the cases we got tickets. And they worked out fine. But the one time with the NBA player was out here, and I don't know if we were in Beverly Hills or we were in Beverly Hills before. I don't know if we were still in Beverly Hills when we were driving.
But around the vicinity.
But around that area, just got pulled over. Yeah, your lights, your LED light. He had some lights on the bottom or something like that. It was just a
reason to stop you. Right.
Exactly.
And so, and we both bring this up because this is what Kaepernick lost his NFL career over. That he wanted to make a statement and did it silently and a protest. And anyway, here we are today.
You said what you just said, and we'll get into that because we've got a few interviews coming up shortly. But later in the show, we'll get into that. You said what he lost his NFL career over. To me, that's now the question. Do we think we're going to see him back in the NFL? Most people, at least what I've read and heard, a lot of writers seem to be implying or flat out stating that we probably will never see him back in the NFL. I don't necessarily know why that has to be the case.
No,
I think can't we see him? Eric Reid is in the NFL.
Eric Reid is in the league.
He's clearly good enough,
and he has a contract. And they signed him to a 3-year contract. It wasn't a 1-year deal, so he's around.
So I hope Kaepernick really. And look, the AAF, the Alliance of American Football. Bill Polian, longtime GM in the NFL,
Hall of Fame GM,
started the AAF,
right.
So, there you see there are huge connections between the AAF and the NFL. NFL Network broadcasted one of their games last weekend. You see a lot of the NFL Network broadcasters doing games. There's talk that it could become a minor league. So, I'm hopeful that he's back in the NFL. I really want to see him play again.
I would like to. I don't know if we will, but I would like to. I'm with you on that.